Assalamualaikum and hello to all students. This is me, Madam Pau. For today, we're going to explore gases exchange in animal. This topic actually is more likely to the topic of respiration in Form 4, but here in Asasi, we try to learn a bit more with few things to be emphasized. Now, let us look at the learning objective. There are three learning objectives to be accomplished by the students. First one is to briefly describe the nature of respiration, and then to explain the gases exchange in human, and finally to explain the gases exchange in invertebrate and vertebrate. So this lecture note, I split into two. Part 1, I'll be talking about human, and then followed by part 2, I'll be talking about invertebrate and vertebrate. Let's begin with nature of respiration. We know that the role of the respiratory system is to absorb oxygen from the environment and to remove carbon dioxide from the body. So this whole things we call as gases exchange process, which comes with two types, external and internal. For external, exchange of oxygens and carbon dioxide is between respiratory surfaces and the blood, while for internal, exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is between the blood and the cells. Proceed with human respiratory structure. As air is traveled through the lungs, it passes nose, pharynx, trachea, and bronchi. We will emphasize on alveoli after this breathing mechanism of human. When we talk about this mechanism, it involves three cycles: exhale, inhale, and relax state. Then there are four components to look up such the condition of external and internal intercostal muscles, diaphragm, volume of thoracic cavity, and also the pressure in thoracic cavity or atmospheric pressure. So what will happen during exhalation? The external intercostal muscle relax while internal intercostal muscle contract. The rib cage move lowered and move inwards. While for the diaphragm, muscle relax, meaning that it will curve up, and then the volume of the thoracic cavity decrease. Higher pressure in thoracic cavity pushes air out of the lungs. While for inhalation, vice versa, external intercostal muscle will contract, internal intercostal muscle relax, rib cage move up towards the front, diaphragm muscle contract and flatten. Volume of thoracic cavity decreases. Higher atmospheric pressure pushes air into the lungs. Back to human respiratory structure. Of course, the main organ is lung. Starting with the structure, trachea branches into two main bronchi, and then further into smaller tubes we call bronchioles here, and then each ends in a cluster of microscopic air sacs known as alveoli. And then when we zoom in, there are alveolus. This is exactly where the gas exchange between the blood and air occurs by simple diffusion. Further explanation on regards to alveolus as the site for gases exchange by referring to the structural adaptation. Its small size and high number present contribute to large surface area, while for its moist wall allow respiratory gases to dissolve easily, its thin wall for quick and easy diffusions of gases, and it is also rich supplied with blood capillaries in order to increase the rate of diffusions and also the rate of the transportations of gases. This is actually showing the movement of oxygen and carbon dioxide between alveoli and blood capillary. This is alveolus. This is red blood cell. During inhalation, what will happen? The partial pressure of oxygen is higher in the alveoli compared to the blood capillaries, So the oxygen will diffuses out into the blood capillary, and at the same time, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in blood capillaries. Too many carbon dioxide. So this carbon dioxide will move into alveolus in opposite direction and gets exhaled out. For the gaseous exchange, oxygen and carbon dioxide between red blood cell in blood capillary and tissue cell, partial pressure of oxygen is higher in blood capillary compared to tissue, so the oxygen gets released into the tissue. Okay, this is due to the cells continuously using up oxygen in cellular respiration. And at the same time, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher in tissue. So it will diffuse in opposite direction to the blood. As simple as that. Next, how does transport of gases conducted in human? Let's see for oxygen first. About 98% of oxygen in blood transported by hemoglobin in the form of oxyhemoglobin, and another 2% is dissolved in plasma and transported by it. This diagram represents transport of carbon dioxide in human, whereby 7% of carbon dioxide dissolved in the plasma, 23% of carbon dioxide combines with hemoglobin forming carbaminohemoglobin, and 70% of excess carbon dioxide diffuse into red blood cell, reacting with water, becoming carbonic acid. It then moving into the plasma and diffuse from the plasma into the alveolar airspace here. So the carbaminohemoglobin breaks down, carbon dioxide is released and diffused into the alveoli. In the red blood cell, the carbon dioxide bound with the carbonic acid released into the alveoli. Alright, bernafas is a must. Tak bernafas nanti die. So, involuntary respiration allow it to happen whenever voluntary respiration is not possible. For example, during sleep. This action, of course, controlled by the respiratory control system, which consists with medulla oblongata, which function as sending signals to the muscles that control respiration to cause breathing to occur, and also controls the reflexes for non-respiratory air movements, such as sneezing, coughing, vomiting, etc. While for pons, which located underneath the medulla, is to control the rate or speed of the breathing. So this is the medulla, this is the pons. Chemoreceptors in the medulla and in the aortic and carotid bodies of the blood vessel function to detect the levels of carbon dioxide in the blood by monitoring the concentrations of hydrogen ions. Have to always remember the chemoreceptor regulations of breathing is a form of negative feedback. This system has its goal to keep the pH of the bloodstream always within normal range. Generally, during vigorous activity, the concentration of carbon dioxide is increases due to active cellular respiration, resulting drop in pH value of the blood. In response, the respiratory center in the medulla oblongata send nervous impulse to the external intercostal muscles and diaphragm so that they will allow respiratory muscles contract and relax faster. Breathing and ventilation rate increase, causing more oxygen to be inhaled, and the oxygen concentration returns to normal. As excess carbon dioxide is eliminated from the body, the carbon dioxide concentration and pH value of the blood returns to normal level. Last slide for part 1 of animal gases exchange. This slide I will just briefly explain because I have provided one assignment for you all to complete related to this matter. So these are the example of respiratory problem listed by me. Actually banyak lagi, but this is that usually occur due to carbon, dust, and pollution materials that gradually accumulate in human lymph nodes and lungs. Okay, the first one is asthma that may be triggered by allergen infections such pneumonia by viral infections, bacteria or fungi, tuberculosis by bacterium named Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and the famous one, lung cancer, which associated with smoking. So don't forget to check out your assignment. How far have we gone? 10 miles, 10 kilometers. This is your lungs saying that almost to the end of the drive away. No, we still have part 2. See you in the next session.